Story title: I have no memory of him being there. Author name: Mr. Bus Driver Carl. Now, this is probably me having a memory like a block of Swiss cheese, but still, it's such a weird situation I wanted to share it here. Okay, so back when I was 15 or 16, I decided I wanted a scooter. Perhaps a weird thing for a 16-year-old to want, you'd all think, but since I live in Sweden, it's actually quite normal since no one is allowed to get a driver's license until you turn 18. Anyway, I tracked down a suitable second-hand scooter in good condition. Me and my father arranged to go pick it up at the seller's house. It was 1 or 2 hours away by car. We get there, I try the scooter out, fall in love with it, and we agree on a price of around 7,000 SEK, or Swedish kroner. And we haul the thing back home on the back of a rental trailer, and that's the end of the story, right? If you remember what I wrote in the title, we now get into the weird part of the story. A few weeks ago I chatted with my friend. I don't want to name drop him here, but for the sake of the story, we can call him Osmond. Osmond and I have pretty much been friends since the day he moved to our town and started in my elementary school. He was assigned to my class and we struck a chord right off the bat. Like I said, we were chatting a few weeks back, discussing cars. We both have yet to buy one, and we discussed both prices and makes and such things. Like we always do when something major happens in our lives, we usually like to tell each other about it. And in the light of this, he says, "If you ever decide to buy a car, let me know beforehand so we can do a road trip. Like the time when you bought that scooter and we went to pick it up." I stared at my phone wondering what in the world he was talking about. I have absolutely no memory of him coming along with us on that trip. Absolutely nothing. And I remember a lot of other dumb, but fun, crap we have done over the years. I tell him I actually can't remember him being along for that trip. He insists he was there. He even remembered trying the scooter out as well. But I don't, and that honestly scared me. I remember the seller, the location, the weather. It was cloudy, and rain would start to fall when we drove home. I even remember a dumb garden ornament the seller had. It was supposed to be a dog who had dug down into the ground, and it had a motion sensor on its arse, and when you got close to it, the dog would bark, waggle its tail, and then fart. Classic. I remember all of that, but not Osmond being there. Like I said in the beginning of this long post, I probably have just forgotten. It was almost 15 years ago, but why that particular trip? Why do I not remember him being there? I could just ask my dad if he remembered Osmond being there, but what if he doesn't remember either? What then? Personal thoughts. This does sound like a significant twist in your memory, a total gap. As I always mention in my personal thoughts segments, memory is fickle. When we go back to remember it, to recall it, we're actually reconstructing it. The neurons in our brain and synapses, they don't operate like zeros and ones in a hard drive where they're fixed. No matter what, they never change. No, our memories, they're connected webs, but sometimes threads get lost or aren't rebuilt properly. So you can get situations where memory just doesn't add up. Now, it's less likely that if two people remember the same thing, that it's incorrect. So asking your father would make sense. But don't ask it in a leading way. Just ask him what he remembers of the time when you bought the scooter. Don't ask him about Osmond or anything like that. If he doesn't mention Osmond, then you can ask him, but phrase it in a way that doesn't spark his mind remembering something that may not have happened. So just ask him, "Do you remember anyone else coming along with us?" Something like that. That could work. But don't be too fearful. Even if your dad does remember Osmond being there, it's possible it's just a memory gap. Nothing to worry about. Or maybe something sinister is going on. I wonder. Have you ever had a situation where your memory just wasn't adding up? Something didn't make sense. You remembered something being this way, but it was actually that way. If you have, let me know in the comments. And as always, like the video if you like it.